Man, Trump kicked in the door, picked up the president. Y'all believe the dope game over yet? Let's talk about it in this episode of Urban Post. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is dog DP, and this is the Kingpin Chronicles. We got this little segment, Urban Post, where we're going to be going over all these hot topics and things going on in the hip hop industry, just in the culture in general. If you haven't already, man, right down below, man, it's free and it don't take no effort to do, man. Subscribe to the channel, right? Like the video, turn on your notifications so you'll be notified when we drop this heat, man, and give you our perspective on these things that's happening in these streets, y'all. We're gonna get right into this, right? Because I'm kind of, you know, surprised about what's going on and the actual reaction that we get into it, right? And everybody know what's going on out here, man. Trump done went all the way across seas, man, and kicked in the Venezuelan president's doors, right? Arrested him and his wife for allegedly conspiring to traffic in illegal narcotics, right? And it's major, man. And you got all kind of naysayers. You got a lot of people that support what Trump did, and for the most part, the naysayers outweighing the people that supporting what they did because they looking at it like Trump went into another country and dealing with or being the police of the world, right? But I just want to remind everybody that this ain't the first time that this has been done, right? That we forget about Pablo Escobar and that the United States government sent, militias and all that over there. They just murdered. You know what I'm saying? So this ain't nothing new for us. Ain't nothing new under the sun or anything that could be did and already been done, right? But this ain't the first time that's been done, right? And what Trump did, and this is just my opinion, everybody got one. You either agree or you don't. If you agree with me, like the video, man, share it, get this point of view out if you agree with what I'm saying, right? If you don't, put it in the comments, man, and let's discuss it, man, because I'm open to, I could be wrong. Like I said, it's my opinion, right? We all entitled to one, so don't judge me by my opinion, please. I'm not going to judge you by yours. But I do want to hear it if it's different because I want to understand it or hear it or be able to, kind of see it from somebody else's point of view. So if you don't agree with it, you don't got to feel no kind of way about me. I'm not going to feel no kind of way about your opinion, but we should be able to talk about these things and come to some kind of common ground on it, right? And I just wanted to make this video, and I don't make a lot of content because there's really not a lot of stuff that I want to be involved in talking about. The drama and people personal business, and I'm not into the clickbait stuff. We of course the views and that stuff I help the channel grow, but I'm just not into the clickbait. We want to keep it real over here and give y'all real stories of real crime, right? Exhibit the real consequences, right? But show you how we redeem ourselves by doing things, the right way and being just a better person overall, right? That's enough of that, though. Let's get out of that, right? Let's get back on truck kicking the door over here, man. Because this is a real, hot topic, man. And I'm of the opinion, right? And I'm of the opinion that if you are someone that's proclaiming to be doing something or making change in something, then you got to take steps that show that you're making change, right? And one thing we know, right, is that Venezuela allegedly, right, produces most of the cocaine in the world. It produces it. Now, for a long time, they were involved in the trafficking aspect, logistics, right? They would produce it, and then the cartels, would get it, and then for a long time, they was, the Colombians was coming over here. Miami got off the chain and all of this and all of that. But it got to the point where Trump, in my opinion, has decided, okay, if we want to end this, you kill a snake by just chopping off the head, man. We can't start at the tail and expect to end this thing. And I see us as being the tail because we the last people before, and for the most part, because everybody in the game, so I ain't limiting this stuff, but for the most part, we the last people in the chain of the game. It start way over there in these other countries, right? But this stuff ain't worth nothing, and then they put it over here in our hands, and we the ones that give it a value because we're able to bring it down and we created the game, right? To be able to push this stuff into our neighborhood and it affect us, right? So I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of history right quick. And I already did videos on this, right? And people didn't understand know what I was talking about. But this is why I understand what Trump is doing. And I think that if he is truly trying to get drugs and fentanyl out of the country and bring down drug use and stop us from going to jail, he ain't against us because he the one made the laws that cut us loose from the laws that was designed, right, to trap us in the trick they playing, right, by bringing this dope over here. And the government has been complicit in this for a very, very long time, right? We got to understand that after all these civil wars and all of that, we had what was known as a major morphine addiction, right? Soldiers and white Americans, whatever they want to call themselves, Jews, Italians, whatever, right? They was the ones whose neighborhoods were suffering from these major drug addictions to morphine, cocaine, all of this. Then this is because these drugs was not illegal at the time, right? And these drugs was allowed to be prescribed to people, right? As medicine. You got a headache, okay, hit you a line of this right here, and you'll be back. You know what I'm saying? Your leg hurt, your back hurt, you got arthritis, okay, bang this right here, and you're gonna be good all day. You know what I'm saying? This was the beginning of the prescription drug era, right? It started out as morphine, right? And they taking this opium, right, that's coming from Asia and all these places, y'all, South America, Mexico, they all grow it, right? So we're not gonna put it on no one particular people. This stuff is produced in all of these places, right? There's different forms of it and different qualities of it, but they all produce it, right? But when we trace the history of this, right, and that's what I did when I first kicked off the channel, and that was the reason for me doing that, right? I'm gonna share the screen, right? Drug trafficking in this country, I don't care who, you cannot refute this, right? Drug trafficking in this country, right, was birthed in the Tampa Bay area, right? It was birthed in the Tampa Bay area. The Tampa mob, right, prior to the five families and all that being formed, right? Because the mafia existed in this country as soon as the Italians came from Sicily and Italy, because the mafia had already existed over there. It's called the Black Hand. But you find that your first major narcotic traffickers in the country, right, was from the Tampa Bay area, and it's this dude Ignacio Antonori, right? This dude was major back then. This dude was supplying all of the families in the northeast area of the country, right? Because they had the plug on the French connection. They was the ones that put together this French connection. They was the ones that started getting this stuff from out of Asia and Thailand and all of that, right? Made the deal with the French people and created the lab, right? And started trafficking these narcotics through Cuba, right? That's why the mafia in the early 1900s, right, had such a close affiliation with Cuba and building all of these casinos and stuff over there. It was their first hub where they could come from across that water and stop and run their drug trafficking organizations from there. Cuba was the perfect place, right? That was a middle place that wasn't on U.S. soil, right? Where they was able to do business with South America and with they people from over there. So it created the perfect trading route, right? Where they was able to ship these narcotics, get them into the country by way of the French Connection, which started with this dude right here, Ignacio Antonori. They was the first person recorded to be dealing with these people. And let's go back to the 1920s, right? In 1910, 1920, 1930. As soon as heroin became an illegal drug in 1914, this dude became an immediate Kingpin, with the drug actually being created by the U.S. government. We got to understand that the U.S. government allowed a company, Bayer, right? Bayer created the chemical that we know as heroin. Prior to it being made illegal, Bayer was selling this stuff over the counter to people, right? They gave it the name heroin, right? It was the same thing that they was using to make the opium, but they had discovered a way to make it stronger in the labs, and they named it heroin, right? And Bayer, the company Bayer that sells the aspirin, that's the company that created the drug that we know as heroin, right? It's undeniable, right? Okay, but now let's get further into this. At the bottom of the screen is a dude by the name of Santo Trafficante Sr., right? And what we're looking at is what would be the formation of what's known as the Trafficante family that was based out of Tampa, Florida. And these are the people that are responsible for building Miami, right? These dudes was the Florida bosses. So they was the ones that found Miami to be the perfect place that had the ports that they could ship all these drugs that they was getting in from Cuba, right? Because Cuba was the hub. You got to remember this. Now they had deals with people over there, all the way up until the time Castro came in the power, right? When Castro came into power, it's a whole bunch of hoopla about Kennedy actually in the government putting hits on Castro, and these are the people that they was using. They attempted to, take Castro out of there allegedly a couple of times, was unsuccessful, and wound up basically pissing them off and getting all the casinos and everything they had over there shut down and all of that. But Cuba had been their hub, right, prior to the other dude buying what was known as Norman's Cake. See, that was something later that I can't remember his name. I don't want to say the wrong name. But later on, the next person in power that Pablo was dealing with Noriega, right? And what they did was they was using Norman's Cake, right? Cuba was the same thing. It was a bigger island, but it was used in the same way, right? Now, what's the problem? How does Venezuela come into the play, right? Like I said, Venezuela, right, is the number one producer of what? Cocaine, right? Cocaine, these drugs is the issue, right? So you cannot get rid of, right, the snake unless you cut off the head. Because you cut the tail off, you're going to regenerate the tail. You get another tail, we replace it. You see, it's another one us born every day, right? But if you go and cut the head off, you kill the snake. So that's the method that Trump using. And now here's comes the controversial part of the conversation. Do we support, right? Or do we feel like Trump doing something wrong? To each his own on that, right? My personal opinion on that is, right, I'm gonna put it like this, right? When I was growing up, right, the type of person I became was not what we looked up to as kids. We kind of despised the drug dealers and the people that were putting that in our neighborhoods because it was new when I was little. As I got older, just through manipulation, peer pressure, whatever it may be, and I fell into the streets, right? I became what I despised as a child, right? When we was little, and people asked us what we wanted to be, we answered we wanted to be firefighters, or we want to be police officers. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to play football. Now you ask these kids, and they tell you they want to be a rapper, or they want to. It ain't none of the productive things that we want to be. They want to be. I want to be like you. No, I don't want you to be like me. You know, I want you to be better than me. But you know what I'm saying? We didn't see the dudes in the streets the way that they're being portrayed and like almost glorified today, right? It was kind of like a secret thing, you know what I'm saying? But uh by saying that, what I'm saying is, right, um, I've gonna come to the point where, especially what really did this for me, all right, because I never could say I hate the game because where I come from. It's where I became me, right? So I can't hate the game. I got respect for the game, right? But I think the game over. I think the game over, and it's really over because these people that, in my opinion, Trump going out there is the ones that's playing these games and putting this other thing, this new thing that's out there that's taking people out of the game. See, when I was out in the streets, I never had nobody that I was dealing with, come to their surmise, right, due to what we was doing. This stuff that they got out here now, man, people coming to their surmise because of it. You know, we grew up with and around all of the people that was coming to us. You know, these was our friends, parents, and brothers and sisters. And nah, we didn't want to be the ones that was giving them nothing that they might not come back from. They know they leave me and it's over. You know. So when that came in the game, I was like, whoa, they playing now. They playing a different game. They playing keeps now. They playing for keeps now. And I can't be the tail on that snake. You know, I can't be the tail on that snake, man. There's a lot of people that I grew up with in the streets and spent a lot of time, doing whatever we did in the streets, So you'll kind of start to see these people as family, and then you hear, oh yeah, man, that thing got him, you know, he got hold of some of that, man, and you know what I'm saying? And you're like, man, that was a cool dude, man. He used to, whatever. But you know, it just ain't, it ain't how the game supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Nah, it done been occasions where you might have something, and you ain't put the right woo woo on it. You know what I'm saying? And something might have happened, but now you got a chance to go back and bring that direct where something won't happen no more. You know what I'm saying? So I just, I'm of the opinion where I kind of support what Trump doing because I don't see ain't no rainbow at the end of that. You ain't no pot of gold at the end of that rainbow for us. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, we all lost in the game. You know what I'm saying? It ain't too many people that I don't know nobody else really that I can tell the story that I tell. Man. I was able to do the things I did and then say, okay, I'm gonna stop doing this before I throw my life away on it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't have to give up no 20, 30 years like my partner, and a lot of the people that I know from out in the streets, man, and grew up with and all of that. But I think that it's a good thing, man. And if for the most part, most of us, or most of the people that's pushing the message that I'm pushing, or something similar to what the Kingpin Chronicles is pushing, man, you got to support Trump with what he's doing, man. Cut the head off the snake. Quit letting that thing get over here. Any of them things get over here. You know what I'm saying? And force our hand into a positive way of becoming entrepreneurs. You know what I'm saying? Force people to have to get a job or come up with a business plan or idea. You know what I'm saying? Of a product or a service that they can perform or create, right? That'll sustain them and their families, man. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. The streets ain't the everything. It ain't the only way for you, man. It ain't the only way. It's a million different ways, man. I got out of the streets, and My bread and butter company is tax preparation. I got out of my comfort zone, right? And I said, okay, I need to do business, real business. I considered myself a businessman as long as I was in the street, right? But I need to do some real business. I go to jail for this business I'm doing, right? Somebody come take me up through there because it's about this business I'm doing. Anything, man, anything goes in the streets. Ain't no rules. Never been no rules, man. Don't let nobody tell you, oh man, back in the day, man, we had rules. It was rules. If it was rules by snitching, the federal penitentiary wouldn't always be full. It's been full since they opened the doors. Snitching been going on since they opened the doors. For all that back in your day, niggas was solid. Man, why everybody went to jail? So that ain't nothing new. There ain't no new phenomenon going on. That's part of the game, man. That's part of the game, right? The Jackboy game. You know what I'm saying? All that, man, all this stuff been going on. It's part of the game, right? If you don't want those things to happen to you, guess what? I got to the point where, right, I've been through all that. I've been to prison. I ain't did no 30 years, but I've been, right? The robberies. I done been through all that. Home invasion. You know, I've been through all of it. You know, so I'm not just somebody that's out here spewing and ain't got no experience in the streets. I came up in it. I lived the better part of my life in it, man. And if anybody can tell you, but I kind of support what Trump doing because I support the whole fuck the streets movement, man. We've been saying fuck the streets, man. If you real, right? If you real about your people, your family, your loved one, your kids, I got sons, I got daughters, right? I don't want them fuck the streets. No, I don't want them being out there. No, I don't want them a part of that. Yeah, I know that's what brought on a bunch of the heartache and the turmoil I went through in life. Yeah, I know that's why a lot of my partners ain't here with me today. Fuck the streets. I'm the Kingpin Chronicles support that. Fuck the streets. We've been saying it. That's what Kingpin Chronicles is. A platform that's telling people we ain't saying it like that, but that's what we saying. We saying, man, fuck the street. Right? Ain't no happy ending to that story. So yeah, we support that. And if you support fuck the streets, you got to support Trump saying, okay, man, fuck Venezuela, sending that shit over here, putting that shit in our neighborhood. It ain't no mistake. I grew up in Jordan Park, piss po, barely had a pot to piss in and a window to throw that shit out, right? But I could wind up being somebody that's got access to unlimited amounts of motherfucking high potency marijuana, unlimited amounts of the girl, unlimited amounts of the boy. When that other thing came in the game, I had already just about found my exit, you know what I'm saying? And it wound up being competition for what I was involved in, right? But it changed the game because it was ending the game. So it's over. It's over. And if you think you ain't doing it or putting it out there, it's in everything. Ain't nothing out there real no more, man. It's all got that in it. It's all that. Everything you touching pretty much synthetic, man. Ain't no real, it ain't nothing like when we was out there. And you know it ain't because you don't even see people up and down the street, rubbing on the ground, pick the things that thing was making you do back then, it don't make them do right now, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just designed to real hard, real fast, right quick. It ain't gonna be there too long, but the way it hit them is what they like. That's why they keep chasing. But it ain't. And the problem is it hit too hard. A lot of them ain't getting back up. But it's in everything. Man. You've seen people die from using everything, right? When I was in the streets, right, I never seen this stuff taking people out like that. So yeah, I'm down for Trump saying, nah, we ain't with that. As long as it was that, they could control it, you know? And we all know that the government done had a hand in this thing, man. No mistake that I'm able to as a teenager and young man, in my 20s. Now we talking about 20, 30 years ago now. I don't know, I don't look it, but I'm an OG. I'm a young OG. And when I say OG, I ain't talking about no original gangster, original none of that, man. It's just a term of endearment, right? That people who you helped throughout the years, right? Or taught something, right? Or see you as. Everybody ain't no OG, man. So we don't clear that up too. Just because you old and was in the streets don't make you no OG. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't too many people I consider to be no OG to me. Because they ain't teach me nothing or give me nothing in the game. You know what I'm saying? So that's what an OG is to me, like a general. You know what I'm saying? But you know, yeah, we ain't supporting that. We support Trump going over there, getting that boy, man. And Trump did it a lot better than they did Escobar, because they just went over there. It was a hit on Escobar. They went, he get his chance in front of a judge. He get his chance in front of a judge, and if Trump was wrong, he got his chance in front of a judge. And you can't tell me you don't got a chance in the court system and all that, because I'm a person that done won in trial. I'm a person that done won in the system. My last tango with the system was a trial that I won with an all-white jury, right? And it was, you know, yeah, it's public record. You know, I ain't gonna get into all that, but because I ain't into bragging about the things that I've done in the streets, I don't glorify it, right? That was a struggle. That was a struggle. Anybody that done been through that know it. You know what I'm saying? So I want that to be known. But at the same time, right? Trump, do your thing, man. We support you over here, Kingpin Chronicles, man. All of them brothers that's in there, man, that was unjustly sentenced and given all that time for nonviolent crimes. Yeah, okay, I messed up. I'm here. I'm here for y'all. I'm here to accept the consequences. But man, it should cost me the rest of my life, man. Let them go, Trump. Cut them loose. What my boy stay on Amistad. Give us free. Man, y'all subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notifications, man. You do not want to miss now another episode. We back, man, and I'm bringing it. Kingpin Chronicles, the Urban Post. I'm out. Yeah.